One of the greatest signs of love is not found in words, but in the effort to unite hearts. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't just preach to individuals, he built a community, a society rooted in mercy, justice and brotherhood. A place where every person, young, old, rich, poor, Arab, non-Arab, they felt seen, heard and valued. And today we ask, what was the Prophet's secret? How did he transform scattered tribes, long-time enemies and broken people into one of the most powerful and loving communities in history? And in this episode, we explore the community building genius of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how his love wasn't just personal, but a collective one. How he built not only people, but a society that would carry his message to the ends of the earth. Before Islam, Arabia was fragmented by tribalism, pride, and blood feuds. Communities were built on exclusion, not inclusion. Power was something that determined value, and the weak had no protection, the stranger had no place, and the orphan had no voice. Then came the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who walked into a divided society, and within a few decades, he brought hearts together, shattered tribal arrogance, and laid the foundation of a community rooted in love for Allah and love for one another. What were some of the principles that he looked at when building the community? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wasn't just a leader, he was a mercy to his people. He had mercy at the center of every engagement that he had with these people. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. That was a mercy that was visible in his leadership. He forgave the ones who wronged him. He made space for those society cast aside, and he empowered those who had never been heard. He built a community of inclusion rather than exclusion, where everyone had a place. He welcomed the poor, honored the outcasts, embraced the foreigner, and lifted the status of women. When Bilal radiallahu anhu, a formerly enslaved African man, became the first to call the adhan, the message was clear. In this ummah, your past doesn't define your worth, your piety does. One of the first things he did after migrating to Medina was to pair the Muhajirun and the Ansar into bonds of brotherhood. This wasn't political, it was spiritual. He was teaching them to share homes, wealth, food, and hearts. And with this you would see that communities don't grow from shared spaces, but they grow from shared care. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam served with his own hands. He was leading by service and not status. He built the masjid, he carried the bricks, he stood in the trenches, he gave up his food for others. His community loved him not just because he led, but because he served. When tension broke out, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't rush to punish. He sought to understand, to reconcile. He taught people how to forgive, how to overlook, and how to prioritize unity over ego. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also didn't centralize all the authority. He trusted others with leadership. He consulted the youth. He respected women's opinions and empowered people to take initiative. He didn't micromanage, but he inspired. The foundation of his community wasn't personality, it was purpose. People didn't follow him because he was charismatic. They followed him because he connected their hearts to Allah. And if we truly love the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we must continue what he began. He didn't just build individuals, he built a community of love. So we must ask ourselves, what kind of community are we building? Do we open our hearts and homes to those in need? Do we uplift those who are often forgotten? Do we hold firm to justice but soften it with mercy? Our masajid, our homes, our social circles, they should reflect his community, a place where the lonely find friendship, the weak find strength, and the believer finds belonging. Because to love the Prophet is to love what he built. And what he built was not just a masjid, it was not just a system, he built a heart-connected ummah.